How to tweak the Astra theme. I'd like to make the Astra theme presentable out of the box. I'm only considering the Astra theme here, although the same principles may apply to other themes. I just installed WordPress 6.2.2. I've copied all my old posts and set their dates. Here's what it looks like. This is terrible. The only way to tell text from code is by examining the font. I'm sure Googlebot will love it, but I don't. The sample page is still here, and equally uninspiring. The theme needs tweaking to get the most out of it. Appearance, editor. I thought I'd activated Astra. This is WordPress's default 2023 theme. Astra will need even less customization than what I just demoed. So activate Astra now. Let's go back to that demoed page so we can see the difference in real time. Hit refresh. I see a breadcrumb of sorts under my title. It has the author and date at least. These are my favourite improvements. Out of the box with Astra, it applies recognisable code blocks and reductions in side borders. No category at the bottom, unlike the 2023 theme, but that's already in the address bar for this permalink. Ideally, I'd display the tags too, but that can wait. I'm looking for a page with long code lines to see how that wraps or distorts the view. If anyone was listening, the port was exposed. That's got to be a single line, I've seen that so much. We can go Appearance, Customize, or Themes, Customize. They're both the same destination. Let's find that page again, the one with the long lines. There are actually some icons at the bottom of the left-hand side that will shrink the render page, the icons being PC, tablet, and phone. Global container controls the width of the rendered page and is something that we'll need to know and use at some point. I shrink container width and get immediate visual feedback. I reset to 1200 pixels. The narrow container width has no effect here because the container layout preview isn't set to display the narrow width. I select it and we go from 1200 to 750 pixels. Here container width has no effect. We're ruled by narrow container width only. I'm happy to leave the defaults for now. They're much wider than the 2023 theme. I don't want to go too extreme yet. We now know which lines have been wrapped. Our readers would struggle though, which is why I'll change the style for code blocks in a moment. To edit the style sheet and prevent word wrapping, it's Astra, Customize, Additional CSS. We need to paste in a CSS filter for the class wp-block-code. Space code to catch the code tags. There's just a single field in that, which is white space pre. That prevents line wrapping. We get a horizontal scroll bar instead. Let's drop in on Breadcrumbs. I mentioned these already. They're very popular with readers and search engines alike. Here we have none, despite the date and author bearing a resemblance. That's mostly down to their positioning. As we see, the options on offer come just before author and date. I like to get as near as possible to focus the metadata. I'd accept the next closest to, which is after the title. Customize sidebar width. We don't have a sidebar, as you can see. I'm dragging its size, but it's still hidden. We need to select the right sidebar layout above. I still don't see it. That's because we have to choose the right container layout too. In global container settings, we're still on narrow width. Even the next width up reveals the sidebar now that we've chosen to show the sidebar from the sidebar editor. Search, recent, categories, archives. What more could I want? Tags. We can choose how much of our container width to allocate to the sidebar. We can choose which side to show it on. Left must be for lefties with funny alphabets. In the widgets menu, we can customize the sidebar further by adding Gutenberg blocks. I'll leave it as dynamic content only. We've got edit buttons next to each entry, but I think they're fine. Here I'm showing the additional CSS, the effect on white space and word wrapping on the code blocks. It makes a big difference. It's worth visualizing again. And finally, don't forget to publish. WordPress 5.3 introduced the Gutenberg editor and automatic image resizing from its media library. The best way to disable this, the only way that I've seen working, is through editing functions.php. You can get to this through your server shell also, but it's nice to see functions.php as the second entry on the right hand side here. I gather it's a very common file for editing. I've pasted these lines to hook into the intermediate image sizes advanced and big image size threshold functions. I disappoint them with negative responses, the empty array and literally false. We could get selective and unset from the input array provided, only the sizes we don't care about. Well, that's more code and maintenance. Here we are in the media library. Before saving the PHP in the first tab, I pasted in the image I have handy. Takes a while because it's a big image. Back in the shell, I see it has created 6 additional images, which at least doubles the space required. Usually the ratio is much worse, but this is a clean photo. Usually, I upload a tiny WebP file between 4 and 40 kilobytes. Because of heavy, lossy compression, I triple the disk space, and the downsampled, downscaled images actually take more space than the original. Now I save the PHP changes to prevent the downscaling. I upload again and check in the shell. We've still got a doubling of total size. It's because it rotated the image this time. That's a new one for me. I googled and found it is detecting a misorientation, which is a common algorithm, but I didn't expect it. I should have found a more typical image, but it's an edge case. If you take photos and misorientate them, this is for you. I rotated Windows Photo Faffer, and it appears to have changed in the thumbnail and modification timestamp. WordPress, however, ignores the changes. I create a copy with the metadata stripped. I even give it a new name, and still WordPress doesn't respect the changes. I conclude that this is a function of file size. It's only because this image is about 4,000 pixels wide. I used photos to create a copy 2,600 pixels wide. And now WordPress respects it. At least I now know not to upload massively bloated photos like this.